say. I say, have you ever known anyone who was deceived and they knew they were deceived? The truth is, you can still buy today 4 gallons of gas for $1 anywhere in America, just like you could 50 years ago in America. I told you you would not believe the story unless you go to anotheruntoldstory.com. Go there and find out how you can buy 4 gallons of gasoline for $1.
For another untold story, go to anotheruntoldstory.com. Anotheruntoldstory.com.
Now, I'll tie that into the message. If you're saying, where's that guy going? Hopefully I can tie this all together and it'll make sense. But I want you to know that Satan deceives the world, and people have been deceived into believing that the price of gas has gone up, and it's a lie. It's an absolute deception. Stay with me and you'll understand what I'm talking about. People today, they like to talk about conspiracies and politics and presidential elections and constitution and world bankers and secret societies. And if they don't have the points that I've already given you, that there is a God of this world, that our Bible has a God who is the God of gods, that what has been done in this world has been done before, and they don't have these points that I've just given to you, all this stuff, and that's what it is, stuff is just babble. It's just babble. And they are deceived and they continue on in their deception. That which has been done will be done again. We're going to go to Genesis chapter 11 and read what was done a long time ago. You need to understand what was done in Genesis 11, starting with verse 1, a long time ago, so that you can understand what is being done today and what is going to be done, I think, in the coming month of September, but I'm not sure. I'm speculating here. This is what we want to read rapidly, starting with Genesis 11:1. Now the whole earth used the same language and the same words. And it came about as they journeyed east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar and settled there. And they said to one another, come, let us make bricks and burn them thoroughly. And they used bricks for stone, and they used tar for mortar. And they said, come, let us build for ourselves a city, and a tower whose top will reach into the heaven, and let us make for ourselves a name, lest we be scattered abroad over the face of the whole earth. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the sons of men had built. And the Lord said, behold, they are one people, and they all have the same language, and this is what they began to do. And now nothing which they purpose to do will be impossible for them. Come, let us go down and there confuse their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad from there over the face of the whole earth, and they stopped building the city. Notice that this building went on in a place called the land of Shinar. Notice that they used tar for the mortar. If you look up that word, it means asphalt, an oil derivative. So oil was part of this building of this Tower of Babylon in the land of Shinar. And they did it so that they could become one. They did not want to be spread out. They wanted to be one. And the Lord said, by the way, I don't know if you caught it, but why did the Lord say, I'm going to stop this? He said, because if I don't, quote, now nothing which they purpose to do will be impossible for them, end of quote. That's why he had to stop the building. And he stopped it by confusing their language. Now, what's been done will be done again. That building of the Tower of Babel is what you have today in the building of what they call the New World Order or globalism. It's Satan's kingdom. And they that are doing the building are serving a different God than the Christians, and the Christians that are called to be Christian soldiers do not even recognize that this war is going on and what they've got planned for the Christian. According to the book of Jasher, Now, the book of Jasher is very interesting to me. In the Bible, the book of Jasher is mentioned 3 different times. And the thing that's interesting about the book of Jasher is that it fills in the gaps of a lot of different things that the Bible talks about in the book of Genesis. It gives more detail. And I checked out what took place in the building of the Tower of Babel according to the book of Jasher, and it's in Jasher chapter 9, and I'll read some of it. It says, "And God said to the 70 angels who stood before him, to those that were near him, saying, Come, let us descend and confuse their tongue." Now in verse 35 of Jasher chapter 9, I found this to be of interest. Hopefully I can tie it all together for the time I've got. But there were 3 main factors in the building of the Tower of Babel. And God changed and turned against each one of the 3 against each other. But catch, according to the book of Jasher, what the 3 factions were that were doing the building of the Tower of Babel. It says, "And the Lord smote the 3 divisions that were there, and he punished them according to their works." And designs. Those who said, "We will ascend to heaven and serve our God." So one faction was building the Tower of Babel so they could ascend into heaven and serve their gods. If you don't understand that the God of this Bible is the God of gods, you won't understand that there are other gods, and you don't understand that your opponent does not serve your God. Well, that was one of the divisions. And the other division says, "And those who said, we will smite the heavens with arrows." You read in the book of Jasher chapter 9 that as they got the tower higher and higher, and according to the book of Jasher, it got so high it took months to get from the bottom to the top. And they would shoot arrows into heaven as they were at war with God. So that was another faction. And then it says, "And the third division of these who said, we will ascend to heaven and fight against him." So there were the 3 divisions. What was going on was they were either going to fight against the God of gods, or they were going to serve their gods by building this tower. Now I want to relate it to today. This push towards a new world order, globalism, it's not new. It's so that we become one. And if God allowed what they are doing right now in this world to continue, then there would be nothing that they could not do. Now, what do you mean by that? I'm going to give you a hypothetical example, but it's really not that hypothetical. I'm going to talk in an area that the churches today dare not talk about. Now, in order for there to be a one-world government, there has to be a one-world government. There has to be a one-world currency. If there's going to be a one-world currency, then the present currency has to be destroyed. There's going to be a one-world bank. If there's going to be a one-world bank, other banks have to be destroyed. There's going to be a one-world religion. It certainly looks like that filthy cult called Catholicism is it. I talked to a man, one of my Acres of Diamond men recently, and he's got a postcard. You got that? You brought that postcard? Bring it up here. I just want to read it to you. We'll have a little variety here. It gives you an idea of how far the ecumenical movement has gone. It says, this is a postcard he got. He said, "St. John invites you to join us in celebrating the Eucharist." It says here, St. John, the Baptist Catholic Church. That's the address on this thing, the Baptist Catholic Church. That's where we're at. You got to have a one-world religion. And you got to have a one-world language. Now, it's amazing how many in this world are in favor of all of this. But I'm going to tell you something. God's not. And it's still his world. And here's something else that they want to have. A one-world race.